What's up? Semen retention. Negative energy will give you terrible experiences, which will make you feel miserable about yourself. Miserable about yourself. Um, let's talk about whenever you relapse or whenever you are just constantly, wasting your sexual energy. You're not retaining your seed, right? This is gonna actually make you feel bad about yourself, make you feel negative, and cause you just to have negative energy. My bad. I sneezed. It's gonna cost you to have negative energy, right? And if you think about negative energy, it's a book that not a book, it's a like an audio. Uh if you ever heard of Earl Nightingale, it's a 30-minute video. Uh I think it's called The Strangest Secret in the World. If you watch that, you kind of get more of what I'm trying to talk about. You have to understand what you want your mind to be on. If you have negative energy, that's gonna cause you to have a negative mindset about stuff. And 9 times out of 10, when you think in negative terms, you're gonna get negative terms. And when you think in positive terms, you're gonna get positive terms. And I remember in the book, he was talking about how most people are poor. Like 95% of people are poor, and it's like 1% of people, or a small percentage of people, be rich. And I think that's because in nowadays they make it seem like the rich people just be the most evil people. I feel like, but in reality, the people that be poor, they have the wrong mindset. That's why they have, like, most people think negatively. That's why we always, or most of us, are poor. You know, and that kind of, and obviously I know there's other things too that might be out of somebody's control or whatever, but no, he was making a lot of sense when he said that, because most people think like other poor people. You know, very few people think like rich people, because in this world, you are what you think about. You become what you think about. And I think when you waste your sexual energy, you waste your creative energy. That's what set the that's what set the foundation for how you're gonna think about stuff. And this is why you see a lot of guys, they be addicted to masturbation or whatever. They be depressed. They'll be truly depressed. And I'm be thinking, like, in order to get ahead in life, I need to think like the 5% or the 1%, and because you got to think about it, most people are poor. You got to think about the people that's rich. You need to learn how to think how they think. You get what I'm saying? And it's not, now truly, I'm telling you, like, it's not about being rich or being poor. But if you're trying to get ahead in life, you can't think like the person that's right beside you or right next to you. You get what I'm saying? You need to be in the community of people that's like-minded, and we all trying to focus on, you know what I'm saying, getting ahead. And when you hang around people that don't care about that, and they just lazy and they don't care about getting ahead, that they're the problem. That's the mindset you don't want to have. And I just believe whenever you have a negative mindset or negative energy, you're never going to get ahead in life. You're going to always bring about negative terms. And that negative energy is going to, a lot of times, can be created from you wasting your sexual energy, wasting your creative energy, because you're naturally supposed to have, a energy to you, but you lose it. And then once you lose it, then that's when you realize you had something that you didn't think you had at first. And that's how I was whenever I was I had got into masturbation and all that type of stuff. I didn't realize how much confidence and energy that I had until I lost it. And I just think that this video is mainly about understanding that most people think negatively. Most people think in bad terms. Most people, you know what I'm saying, don't think they're ever going to get anywhere in life. They just, coast and don't care and just try to survive. You get what I'm saying? And that's why most people, 90% of people, we don't get to where we want to get, you know? And you have to learn how to think a certain way. And you have to force yourself to think positively. because I feel like even just as humans, it's like it's we have a natural tendency just to be negative towards stuff. We have a natural tendency to do stuff like that, you know. And I think as you get older, you start to realize that when you have a negative mindset towards stuff, you're gonna end up just like everybody else. Because most people got a negative mindset. Very, 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 very few people have a positive mindset. You know, very few people. And I think the people that get ahead in life, the people that become successful, they don't think like nobody else. They don't think like the poor people think. They don't think how most people think, you know. And it's not even about being rich. It's about accomplishing a goal, you know. And even in that video, he talk about how people who get places in life is people who have goals, people who want to get somewhere. And I apologize about me sneezing. People who get places in life is people who have goals, and they focus on positively thinking about their goals and have a positive mindset towards their goals. Uh, I believe with me, man, it's been so many times. Or let me say this before I say that. Semen retention and your sexual energy, it's gonna set you up with a foundation that's gonna make you more purposeful, and have a mindset to accomplish and set goals and have a definitive purpose in life. Rather than when you waste it and you have that negative energy, that's gonna set the foundation for you to be like everybody else, for you to not get what you want in life. You get what I'm saying? For you to just be in survival mode, and you be miserable because you're not living the life you want to live. You get what I'm saying? You just living a life that was handed to you. You at like the default level, and you're not choosing what you want to do. And I think sexual energy, it's all about, it's creative energy. It's all about creating the life that you want. And when you can't create, you're just gonna get the life that people that they just gonna give you a life, and you're gonna have to just deal with it. And so I think that's a thing that we have to think about. And even in if you I remember my audio listening to the Napoleon Hill Outwitting the Devil, and he was talking about how basically the same thing the dude in the video was talking about, that when you have a definitive purpose and you force yourself to think positively towards it, that's where you get somewhere in life. And you bring about negative experiences whenever you have negative energy, and that's gonna cause you to feel bad about yourself. So semen retention is strongly correlated, I believe, to how you think and how good you can think, and your creativity level, and just your ability to chase and believe in yourself when it comes to goals and stuff. So I just think that's something that's very important that we have to start looking at. Uh, I was gonna keep recording over there, but the mosquitoes kept attacking, man. That's pretty much all I got to say though. Peace out.